I came personally into the real estate market in 2017, and that's where there were so many buyers and so many multiple offers happening, but I was unaware of how to actually write these offers in a way that they got accepted. Now, in this video, I'm going to be talking about 7 different ways you can write your offer and different things to do to write your offer and before writing your offer in order to ensure that you get the deal and you get your buyer the home that they want. If this is your first time coming to the channel, my name is JP Gandam, and I've been in the real estate industry for now 8 years, done over $100 million in sales, done over 100 transactions, scaled my business. Now in the last 2 years, we're helping other real estate agents scale their businesses. And in this video, I'm gonna be talking about these 7 different ways that I use personally in order to get my offers accepted when I'm submitting for a buyer. Now, what you've probably done is you've showed the property, maybe you've even showed it twice or 3 times, made sure that the buyer likes it. The first thing that you're going to do is create a CMA, so a market analysis of what the home is actually worth. Now, to do this, you want to be looking at various different factors. You want to be looking at other solds, other listings, different things about school catchments. Maybe it's a specific school catchment that everybody really wants, so it could increase the value of the property, or anything else like that. So you want to figure out exactly what the property is worth, and you want to also look at which way the market's trending. So if the market's going up and it's going up really aggressively, the last sale might not indicate what this one's going to sell for, and it might sell for maybe a couple of $1,000s more, maybe $10, $15, $20,000. I've even seen the exact same property within a week sell for $100,000 more just because the market was so hot. That being said, I've also seen the complete opposite. If the market's going down and it's going down hard, you could see properties falling in value 50, 100K overnight essentially. So you want to do a very in-depth analysis of what the property is worth in your opinion, and you want to present that over to the buyer so you actually know what price to write, and you're not writing an offer that's far off of the expectations of what the seller might have. Now, keep in mind, the seller might have some crazy expectations. Maybe the other agent didn't do their job in telling the seller what the property is actually worth. So you do want to keep in mind, like, it could go a bunch of different ways. You as an astute agent need to know exactly what that property is worth right now in today's market. Which brings me to number 2, understanding the seller's expectations and their priorities. So not only do you want to figure out what the seller is expecting in terms of price and things like that, but you want to also figure out what the seller's expectations are and priorities are based on like dates based on what's included in the property, what's excluded in the property. Maybe they want to keep the grand piano that's in the family room. So you want to basically take a backseat. You don't want to put your own biases on what you think that the seller might value because you might value those things. So you really want to make sure that you're figuring out exactly what the seller values by either 1, talking to the seller if you can at the showing, or 2, talking to the listing agent and figuring out exactly what that is. So you can tailor your offer, and maybe you can include better dates that they might really value at a tune of like 10, 15 grand. So you can play with the price if you know exactly what other things that the seller actually values. Now, number 3 is you want to ensure that your buyer is actually ready. And what I'm talking about here is the financials. So if you haven't been the one that has gotten your buyer pre-approved, which I always recommend, even if they already have another pre-approval, I always recommend to get another one by your broker so that you can control the money. And if you can control the money, a lot of times you can control the deal. That's another video for another time. But I mean, if you don't have access to the broker that's dealing with the buyer, that's something that is extremely necessary at this point, because you want to ensure that this buyer is actually able to, 1, afford the property, but 2, be able to get the financing when push comes to shove. There's going to probably be subject to financing, and if you're that agent who's putting in offers with buyers who maybe are not even like qualified to purchase properties, you're going to get a really bad reputation in the marketplace, and you're going to get a really bad reputation really quickly. So you want to ensure that this buyer that you're working with is actually able to purchase the property, and they're able to remove subjects in the time that you specify. Now, moving on to number 4 is to provide a clean offer to the seller. Now, I know sometimes you guys can't go cash, or the buyer doesn't want to go cash, maybe it's their first property, but you can clean up the offer in a multitude of different ways. So a couple of different ways to clean up the offer is to get rid of unnecessary terms. So if you know that there's terms in your offer that might not even hold weight, don't include them. Like, there's gonna be, especially if there's multiple offers on the property, like let's say you put a term in there saying that the seller needs to steam clean the carpets. Like, that's not something the seller is going to want to do. And if there's multiple offers and another offer doesn't have that, obviously they're going to choose that other offer. So cleaning up your offer means more than just going cash. It means cleaning up silly subjects like that. It means maybe making it look aesthetically a lot better. So if you have a lot of cross outs, or you have a lot of terms that you're adding and then subtracting or whatever it is, like, you want to look at the offer and clearly understand what that offer is, and so does the seller and the seller's agent. So make sure the offer is looking clean, but also it is clean. Real quick, guys, if you are getting value from the video, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to be making videos every single week to make sure that your real estate career is smooth. Next is to include a cover letter. So when I'm a listing agent, a lot of the times what I'll do is I'll go through offers if I have multiple offers, and I'll make cover letters for each offer. If you go ahead, and what that cover letter says is it basically summarizes the offer. What's the price? What are the dates? What are the subject removal dates? What do the sellers need? What do the buyers need? So on and so forth. Now, if you are able to do that for the seller's agent, obviously the seller's agent is going to like that, and they're going to think that, hey, you know what? If this person is doing this now, like, they're going to be a lot easier to deal with, and they can definitely change the way your offer is perceived to the seller. And your seller might think the exact same thing, like, hey man, this guy's putting a lot of effort in. It looks clean. It looks like these guys are going to have their ducks in a row when it comes down to remove subjects. A lot of the times, even in that cover letter, a little pro tip is that I put a little bit of information about who the buyers are, especially if they're like first-time home buyers. They're a sweet little couple who wants to buy their first home and they've been getting outbid or whatever it is. Like, add a story and be truthful, but add a story about who your people are, because at the end of the day, it's people on the other side of the transaction, and sometimes you can pull your heartstrings. So I mean, I had an example one time where a seller took like 5K less on a listing because they wanted to sell it to a particular person, because that person was somebody that resonated with them. So a lot of the times, like, sometimes it's not even about the money. It's about what the seller can see as the person moving into their home that maybe they have an emotional attachment to. Number 6 is to clearly communicate your buyer's commitment to this property. Now, that can mean a whole bunch of different things. What it means to me is, it means, one, talking to the listing agent and telling them how much they love the property. 2, it could mean providing a pre-approval letter, so showing that the buyers are actually able and capable to purchase this property. You also want to be a little careful when you do that, because you don't want to give a full pre-approval letter saying that, hey, you know what, they're approved up to $1 million when the property's listed at $950 and you're going in at $920. Then they're going to know that obviously you have room to come up. But what you can do is you can figure out a price that is acceptable to you guys and get the bank to write a pre-approval letter for that amount. So that can be something that you can provide to the seller. You can also present the offer in person. So, I mean, if the listing agent is okay with it, a lot of the times what I used to do is I used to present the offers in person, just because it meant more to the seller and it meant more to the whole transaction in a whole, because now it's a face-to-face transaction. This is me, I'm here, I'm presenting this for my buyers. These are my buyers. And if they have any questions, it's really quick feedback loops and they can ask you and you can answer them right away. And finally, number 7 is maintaining your communication with the listing agent or the seller or whoever you're talking to. You want to make sure to be available 24/7 when you're in a live deal. So a lot of the times, like, I have my phone on D&D or I have the notifications off. If I'm in a live deal, everybody knows it. My wife knows it, my family knows it. I might have to leave at any given moment, or I have my laptop on me at any given moment to revise the offer. That's just how things are when you're a real estate agent. A lot of the times time can kill deals. So if you're not there and you're not able to produce a offer or a counter offer or whatever it is, or provide signatures, sometimes you can even lose the deal. It also provides a lot of professionalism on your side to the other agent when you're very responsive and you're able to provide answers right away, which is going to obviously look good to them, because they're going to have more confidence in the fact that they should sell their property to you, and you're going to be the one to be able to get the job done and subjects removed. And there you have it, my 7 things to do before submitting an offer and during submitting an offer to ensure that you get the deals done. Now, that's all great, but if you don't have enough clients to talk to on a daily basis to be in these situations, you're in a tough spot. I put a link below where you can book a call with our team.